What can reading blood work the way I've taught you do for you in your practice? Well, here's what Hillary has to say days after attending the Master Blood Work Live event. Quote, I have had 3 patients now, and one's coming in next week to read their blood work. I charge $425. I work up the protocols, and my patients are so happy with the supplements and service. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. It is a game changer. Just wanted to send you a positive, happy note to make your day. This is just the tip of the iceberg, I feel. Hillary is not the only one. Connie introduced the same blood work reading for her current patients, and within days of introducing the new service, she was booked out 2 months. Danny jumped on a YouTube channel with another person, and within hours of that YouTube video going live, she had over 80 people reach out. And within the next week, I believe she said it was up to 150. Margaret has recently doubled her prices, so she's not resenting it anymore. These are just a few examples. What can it do for you? Come see what it's all about at my next live and free workshop, August 30th. Get all the details at drkylieburton.com/free-workshop. And that workshop is just for you practitioners. This podcast is sponsored by my favorite supplement companies, Systemic Formulas and My Biome. Come join me inside their private Facebook group for practitioners called Systemic Formulas Clinical Nutrition. All right, let's get started so you can have more freedom, more impact, and more income. Here we go. Welcome to the Beyond the Diagnosis podcast with me, Dr. Kylie. If you are a chiropractor, listen up. If you are a massage therapist, listen up. If you are someone with this degree, but yet you're kind of tired or getting burnt out of what you do, there are options. And Dr. Ron is here to help us walk through his journey because he was once a chiropractor. Now he rocks stages and helps entrepreneurs with their mindset, up-level their business, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So turn up the earbuds, put everything on silent, everything else, so you can just pay attention because what you're going to learn in the next 30 minutes might open up some doors that you never thought about.
Hi.
Welcome, Ron.
Thank you for having me.
Good. So walk us through this journey of yours, because I know I am so intrigued on how you went from chiropractic to where you are now and just what's happened in your life because of it.
Well, the journey actually began even before that. I do have a PhD in psychology that I got in my 20s. And
so you got your PhD first.
Yeah.
And then you went back to
I really enjoyed, having a practice and had done that for quite a long time. I had several friends that were chiropractors and really respected what they were doing. I really feel like chiropractic's a great preventative care. I think it's just really keeping the nervous system healthy, which keeps everything healthy. And so I really was intrigued by that. And I found myself in my work, I do a lot of breath work, I do just a lot of body awareness work. And so at some point, I realized I really want to know more about the body. And so chiropractic was a natural direction for me to go to learn more. And of course, by the time I finished the prerequisites, I questioned whether that was a good choice or not. But I had also met what turned out to be the love of my life, and my wife now for 30-some years in those prerequisites. So she encouraged me to continue. But I really fell in love with it. I actually began teaching chiropractic philosophy even while I was in school. I really thought that I had a real clear edge and understanding of what it was all about, and I do, and I appreciate it considerably. After school, my wife and I opened a very holistic practice, mind, body, spirit, and we're doing well, very successful. That was in Mill Valley, California, just above San Francisco. Yeah, a lovely area. And about 2 or 3 years in, I really like to go deep with my psychological work. I'd go really deep. I don't just have conversations with people and so they feel better. I really like to look at, well, what's the source? What's that cause? And not the symptoms, but the actual cause. And so with chiropractic, I found myself getting frustrated. I was thinking, okay, they'll come in, they'll have low back pain. We'll look at, okay, what's getting that handled, but also looking deeper and what's the real cause, the stress, the strain, what are they carrying in life emotionally or in some form that they need to look at and release so they don't keep coming back week after week for this back pain. And I found people just didn't really want to go there. They just wanted to fix me. I was a good chiropractor. I could make the pain go away, but of course they still had their old lifestyle, so it came back. And so I think just, it was just a time where I was in transition anyway. And so I really moved back into more of a psychological practice, and that served me well. And so huge love of chiropractic. I have a chiropractor that I go to regularly, and thank goodness he's, he's just a delightful being who is very good at what he does. But for me, I couldn't do the deeper work in that traditional methodology that I was using. So, to me, I still use the understandings from chiropractic. Certainly, neurology is something that I've studied for decades, and so it certainly enhanced that, and it's allowed me to really considerably expand my practice, and so yeah, that's where I am.
How long ago was that you made that transition?
Oh, a couple decades ago now. Yeah,
a couple decades ago. Do you remember, if you were to go back and recall your transition period, what's one do and one don't for those who are trying to make some transition in their career?
Well, I think people kind of get fed up with what they're doing, or they're not successful with what they're doing, or various reasons people get to that point of change. And I think it's always, to be honest with you, because they're ready to evolve. And so rather than just let go of what you're doing and jump into something else and being financially, in a thin area for quite a while, or whatever that transition might bring you, it's really an opportunity. If you're in the practice, especially with something as respected and as hard as you work to become a chiropractor or any healthcare practitioner, you really, when you come to that place where you're ready to do something different, it means that you're becoming different. And so that's a time when you really want to look deeper within. Just as, with patients, I always would try to see the next level of depth so that I would have a next level of understanding of what was causing their problems. Well, that's for somebody in business. That's really the same situation. I mean, I work with business entrepreneurs and execs, and they come to me for a variety of reasons. One, they always want more. They want more money or more success or more something, more ease. And, so it's always a matter of really respecting what they've done to get to where they are, but appreciating that they've run into a place where they're ready to grow and they're ready for something more. And so often I see them looking outside of themselves for that more. They buy the next shiny object, the next workshop, the next thing that's working for somebody else. And rather than look outside of yourself, really understand that these transitions that you're having in your life are really an opportunity to look deeper within. And yeah, it might be a little scary. It's not actually scary once you get in there, but initially when you think about it, it might seem that way. But as you look deeper, you're going to find what's ready to be healed in your body, in your being. And in healing that and learning how to do that so that you're ongoingly evolving in your life, you always and every time in that healing, you'll access the part of you that will support you and guide you into the next level of your life. And, it's really perfectly designed. If you run into any discomfort in your life, breathe into that. Use that as an indicator to look more deeply. See what it is that needs healing. Do whatever you need to do, getting help or on your own, healing that. And you can trust that that next part of you will come forward. And that'll take you, allow you to evolve. It'll support you into being more conscious, becoming more who and what you are.
I love that word of evolve, because I'm experiencing this myself. You and I are in a mastermind together. And a while back, I've been in the mastermind for over 2 years now. In the beginning stages, that one of the leaders, Jen, gave this talk on, or a coaching call on pivoting, and how she pivoted from a personal training career to more of a mindset career. And I remember while listening to this call live, I'm thinking in my head, I'm never going to need this. I'm never going to pivot. I'm going to just keep doing what I've been doing forever. And then here I am 2 years later, and I have completely pivoted. I have gone back and listened to that coaching call several times because it's so applicable. And then when you say, I'm upgrading and I'm up-leveling myself, it gives me comfort because I still have people like, hey, are you going to ever read blood work again? Hey, I just want to work with you. I don't want to work with anybody else. And it's like, I want to help people, but I only have so much energy to dump. And I'm really going well with the practitioner thing. So when you feel that call that drives you somewhere else to up-level, walk through the door of opportunity.
Life, the one constant we have is change. Life is just filled with change. I hear people are afraid of change, but the truth is, being afraid of change only creates resistance, which creates more drama and dis-ease in your life. Sometimes dis-ease. So what I'm really recommending is people learn to, they have to heal their past. They have to get present. They have to be mindful of what they're thinking, their level of consciousness, what they're feeling, and all of those things. That's just living a mindful life. But in that state, you begin to just breathe and stay current with what's going on. You're current with that change. You see that change as the opportunity. And from that place, you are evolving all the time. And so, I might have a shingle that says I'm a psychologist or a chiropractor or whatever, but there's so many different levels that you can do that on. And they all serve you on your path. And those shifts within yourself, of course, serve others on their path. I work with really high-level leaders oftentimes, and, they come in frightened, to be honest with you. They come in, feeling like they're kind of desperate, looking for what's next. Some to have the success they're looking for, to increase their income, to have the relationships. Right now we're in a really big transition of what businesses look like, and they're becoming much more cooperative, and people just working together in much more supportive ways. That old top-down leadership model is going away, and a leader of today is really more about how to support others rather than be dominant over others. And so everyone is in transition. Everyone is in change. And the great thing is it's making everything better for everyone. But you have to embrace that. Yes, I have to support and guide people through that transition oftentimes because it's a big transition. But on the other side of it, they always are more successful. They always make more money. They're always happier. Their relationships are always better. They literally are neurologically rewiring their brain so that it works better. They're more emotionally intelligent. They're more capable of, if you think of the mind as kind of a receiver, as you heighten the ability and develop integrated whole brain thinking, you're neurologically, that receiver is not only able to access local mind, but what I refer to as big mind, which makes you much more agile, much more capable of being creative and accessing your imagination, being intuitive, and handling that change in a comfortable, organic, and supportive way.
Yeah. Give us an example of one of the clients that you have helped up level and how they did it.
Well, one guy comes to mind, and you never know who will come to mind, but one fellow, he came a couple of years ago after COVID had started. He was referred by a client that I'd had several years before that. And he was, uh, definitely an old style top-down leadership. He liked to control things and get things done my way or the highway kind of guy. And but it it wasn't working for him. He was afraid he was going to lose everything. He lost the love of his life. His life was really looking like it was dramatically shifting and not for the better. And within 2 months, we began to explore his past. We began to explore where he had come from and what he was at the effect of, and his old belief systems that weren't being supported any longer. And he began to understand what was holding him back. He began to understand that he was really being run by emotional backlog from his childhood in lots of ways that he didn't even acknowledge, let alone really look.
I think more people are like that than
I
not.
think everybody.
Yes, yes, because just knowing like the work that I've done personally over the last 2 years has allowed me to jump in the last 6 months, but it's all because of the work I did beforehand. And it goes back to the childhood, the subconscious. I mean, you know the story.
Well, it is the truth. I mean, when people come to me, oftentimes they're ready to take their business, their life up to that next level, as we say. But what they often find is things aren't working in the way they'd like. They're not able to continue to grow at the level that they're used to, or their success is waning in some way, or even their health or their relationships are having challenges. And so what we find is they're building their life on just a foundation that's not strong enough to really build the life that they envision on. You can't build on sand. You can't build on too thin a foundation unless you're just going to play small. And so that healing the past, that reframing who and what you are, that letting go of all your attachments and fears and limitations so that you can really create a substantial foundation is what really allows you to then go on to create a life that is really, as I call it, creating your most inspired life, an inspiring life that you really know you're worthy of. And so that's what happens as they heal that past, that creates that foundation. I guide them through really quite literally neurologically rewiring the brain, becoming more mindful, accessing aspects of themselves that they didn't even realize they had before, and quite literally just shifting their level of consciousness and understanding, of course, that your level of consciousness determines how you see and experience and react to everything in your life. So as you raise that level of consciousness, you're naturally experiencing yourself as a much more confident, capable, and uniquely new human being. I hear that with my clients all the time. They feel smarter. They feel like an entirely different person, and they are. There's that what I hear lots of times people saying these days. I feel like I'm not enough or an imposter, and the truth is they're not enough. But it's not that they don't have enough. They're just not accessing enough of themselves from within. We're trained to look outside of ourselves from very early childhood and compare or judge or all of those things, and we're never good enough. We just either use your ego to protect yourself or feel like you're not not playing on the level that you'd like to or whatever. And the truth is, whatever level you want to play on is just you have to have the courage to go within and access those aspects of yourself that you've left behind, because those are what the parts of yourself that you need to grow so that you can evolve and literally become that person who's fulfilling their potential. So many people feel like they're not, and they're probably not, but they're certainly capable of. And it happens. What's exciting is it happens within months.
How do we tap into becoming enough? When
Yeah.
you say you help change the neurological rewiring the brain
Literally,
and
yeah.
nervous system, what's the first step to take to someone who's listening right now, myself included? How do we do that?
Well, I think you understand. It's kind of I think, we're fairly protective of ourselves. And so we have to come to a logical understanding of what we're doing and why we're doing it and recognize, oh, that's not working. So a lot of times what I talk about is, taking a look at what you've done with your life and really congratulating yourself for having done so well. But then take an honest look at, okay, how much of your energy.
Wait. Okay,
So
keep
take
going.
a look, an honest look at how much of your energy are you using to resist emotional backlog? How much of your energy are you using to deal with issues around that are limiting you, beliefs that are really sabotaging your life? And I can tell you, I've been doing this for decades. Almost everybody, and I'm working with some really high level players. They realize that they're about 40 to 60% of their energy is really on this break of life. If you imagine a vehicle, a car going down the road, yes, they've got their foot on the gas pedal, but there's also a great deal of energy and their personal power focus that they're pushing on that brake, their fear orientations. And so, the early part of the work really is about learning to breathe into and acknowledge and express and release that emotional backlog, which allows you to take that foot off of the brake. And as you take that foot off the brake, of course, then you accelerate into a life filled with a great deal more success. They always make more money, and a lot of them are very, very successful already. But they're not just making more money, they're doing what they love to do. They're doing what they want to do. They're contributing to the world in a way that makes them feel good about who they are and what they're doing. And there's
I think the two go hand in hand. Like as soon as you have fun and you love what you're doing, it's like the bank account just keeps going, going, going. That's what I've experienced.
Yeah.
Like I always tell people, I hit my stride. I love what I'm doing right now. And so for me, this word that we deem called selling is easy.
Yeah. Well, it's not selling,
so when you
it's
get
just
that,
being supportive. And that's,
yeah.
I'm probably a terrible salesman if I was really out trying to sell something. I can honestly say that the work I do is probably the most supportive, significant personal transformation that anyone will do. And certainly my clients would agree with that, and all of them do. It's not like 3% of them would, 100% will. And so it's like, why would I not want to do what I'm doing? I'm watching people wake up. I'm watching people, whether they're 30, 40, 50, or 60 years old, discover who they are and what they're capable of and begin to create a life that just is incredible for them to live. And it's like, what a privilege to be in that position that I get to guide people. And that's really all I am. The territory they want to go into just happens to be territory that I'm intimately familiar with from my own personal journey, but also taking thousands of people into that territory. And once they understand how to function in that area, then they go off on their own and of course, help and serve others and support others on that journey. Yeah.
Yeah. This inner work that we're talking about, there's a reason why I include it in my 90-day program. Like it's a must to talk about mindset and money and relationships with yourself and digging deep and healing all these inner childhood scenarios, subconscious, consciously. And it's transformed me. You've watched it transform so many of your clients. It's a requirement to growth. And if you want to hit that next level, look inside first. So I titled this episode, You Are Good Enough.
You are more than enough. You are more than enough.
You are more than enough.
It's true. It's, the one thing that I find across the board, and this has been for decades, when clients come, one of the first things I help them understand is their program for getting love. A child wants unconditional love more than anything else. And I've asked that question all around the world, what does a child want? And everybody agrees that it's love, and they want unconditional love, and that they'll do anything to get it. Well, if a child wants that unconditional love more than anything else, then what did you do to get it? Because you definitely said, okay, I've got to, how do I maximize the amount of love I get from this in this family of origin? How do I maximize the acceptance and love I can get from the culture that I'm being raised in? So you shove down a lot of parts of yourself. You ignore a lot of parts. You stuff a lot of your feelings. You stuff a lot of your ideas, your creativity, your enthusiasm, your passion. You stuff those things away to fit in. And just to get that love and acceptance from others, which as a child is completely normal, completely necessary for survival. But as you become into your teens, especially into your later teens, you have to begin to start to look within for that love that you want. And of course, the journey is all about really rediscovering all those disparate parts of you left behind and allowing yourself to be really reconnected with them and become whole. And that wholeness is where you find that unconditional love that you always wanted. It was always within. It's maybe the only place you'll find it ever. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Ron, last question. If you were to lose everything, your entire practice, your name, your following, everything, what would you do as you were starting over?
Most of what I have is deep within myself. So all you're really talking about is losing things. And those things really don't have any value. So I would probably start by having a conversation with somebody, and they would understand, because I'd be asking them questions about themselves. I'd be giving them insights about themselves. They'd be understanding more about who and what they are. And they'd say, Ron, could you help me on this journey? And then I would say, sure, I'd love to do that. And as I'm helping them on their journey, they'd be telling other people that what I'm doing with them and how excited they are about the transformation they're in. And those people would come and they'd say, well, Ron, I'm spiritually, or my health or my business, I'd like to have more success in those areas. And so I'd begin talking to them and helping to them. And maybe I'd start talking to groups of people, or if they had the internet, then I would begin putting things out on Facebook about it. And pretty soon I'd be right where I am, helping people.
I love it. You just had like the most simplest reaction, that I would just talk to one person. And then from that one person, you dropped a rock in the water, and the ripple effect happened.
And they do. And, it's
So if you're listening and you're like stuck, go talk to one person and watch the ripple effect.
How can you be stuck in a world of change?
It's true. It is so true. Just pivot and rework how you do things. And then we're always going to remember you are more than enough.
Absolutely. And that might be what I'm really doing most of the time. Is one, I help people fall in love with themselves. But two is I'm really helping people let go and become. I'm helping them remember who and what they truly are. And as they begin to embrace that vision and they clear out all the subconscious sabotage that's going on that keeps them from really knowing who they are, their lives become these just exciting adventures of exploring those different dimensions and aspects of who they are. Because they're not coming from a place of fear and limitation. They're coming from a place of curiosity and intrigue, curiosity and adventure as to all of the incredible things that life offers us. That's where, people talk about being grateful, but the source of that high level source of gratitude is really when you begin to trust that life is here to support you, that the universe is really all about bringing you exactly what you need. to guide you into opening up your heart and discovering the best of who and what you are.
I love it. Okay, we need to end on that. Dr. Ron, how can they connect with you?
Well, I'm, of course, more interested in them connecting with themselves. So they're welcome to go to my website, ronstotts.com, RONSTOTTS.com. And on that homepage, they're going to see 9 insightful questions. And I think those are great questions for anybody, certainly for entrepreneurs and execs, for them to really begin that inner journey, to look more deeply at where they are, where they'd like to be, and what keeps them from really filling that gap and making that transition. Because you want to be living the life that you're passionate about. You want to discover your highest intention in life, which is one of the early parts of what I help people with. Because knowing your highest intention, that's like your compass heading in life. And knowing that compass heading makes the rest of life easy. And it really does, because everything's coming into alignment with that. If it doesn't, something comes into your life and it doesn't fit into the support of that higher intention, you let it go. If it's in support of that, then you integrate it in, accept it, and move forward with more empowerment. So, yeah, it eliminates all the drama. It makes life a lot more fun.
Yes, go grab those 9 insightful questions so you know how to answer and start looking within. At Ron Stotts, RONSTOTTS.com. Thank you so much for joining us,
Ron.
Ron.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
All right, you have more tools now. Go out and change the world. Make your impact, make your mark, and let's change lives together. This podcast is sponsored by my favorite supplement company, Systemic Formulas and My Biome. If you're not using them in your practice, you should be. Come join me inside their private Facebook group for practitioners called Systemic Formulas Clinical Nutrition. I'll see you in the Facebook group, and I'll see you on the next live and free workshop, August 30th. I'm here to help. Dr. Kylie.